In this video, I'm separating people into 4 groups. There's 4 groups of the caste system in India. I'm separating people into 4 groups that have developed, you can say unnaturally or naturally, in America, and it's sweeping across many nations because of the state of the economy. And this is the most important part. I am serious. If you are trying to do something, if you're starting something new, if you have a passion you're trying to turn into a business, don't tell anybody. Just work at it. The Egyptian slaves only had to give away 20% of their crops to the people that they were enslaved to. That was what slavery was back in the day. Now we're giving up like way more than that in taxes. So if you're not completely dedicated and you're not good at keeping a job, you're a little unstable or really unstable, then you end up with multiple jobs because you might work really hard for a while and then falter, and then you lose a job and then you have to get another one. I want to talk about, I think, 4 distinct classes of people right now and their lifestyles, and it's all based off of money because the economy all over the world is messed up. I mean, you look at it, kind of starts in the US, right? And these are the 4 classes I'm talking about, okay? You got, first off, the rich people that you know are rich, or the people you don't even know exist that hold a bunch of money. And, you know, they say like 1% of the population has like 80% of the money or some crazy thing like that. So those are the people that have an extraordinary amount of money, and it's not really moving around much, you know? Like, it's not really trickling down like they used to say. Trickle down economy it ain't really that simple. So you got those people. And some of them are online talking about stuff. Now, the advice that they give or the things they say, every once in a while they say something I think that might be actually helpful to people. But most of the time I think they're saying things to misdirect people or to guide people in the wrong direction because they want to stay rich and they want the people, like their interests, to have the money and the power and the status and keep it. So they say things to try and misguide people. So that's the first class of people. All they care about is money, power, and status. Most of them probably, I don't think they're happy. They probably use a lot of drugs. They probably do really crazy sexual stuff, or just stuff that we wouldn't be able to comprehend as normal plebeian citizens. The normal citizens that don't have all that money and power just would not be able to comprehend what these guys do for fun. Because once you buy all the Ferraris you want and have all the boats you want and can pretty much pay for anything you want, probably start wanting some weird shit after a while. Probably get bored of hiring the same prostitutes and that sort of thing. That is, if you're completely depraved. If all you care about is money, power, and status, then, you know, doesn't matter if there's any moral justification to do something wrong. It's fun for them sometimes to do bad things. What those things are, I don't know. So that's the first class. The second class is people that you see a lot of these people online selling courses and stuff that probably are not rich. You know, like, it's the idea, like, if you go to a business class, if you go to school to learn business and you're learning business from somebody who's never had a business, but they went to school for business and now they're teaching you. So it's like an abstraction, right? They're teaching you how to do something they're teaching you the basics of business. And I'm sure, the basics, you can learn from school. But if you really want to have a good business, you need to get out there and learn, yourself. Or you need to learn from somebody who's actually done it and who's going to tell you the real key aspects that you won't learn in school, or you won't learn from paying for this course or that course online. I'm sure a couple of them are good and actually help you out, but think about it. It's usually pretty much a pyramid scheme. It's usually a scheme where it's like, okay, all the online people who say, okay, buy my course, it's because they don't actually have that much money and they want to get rich. So what they do is they say, hey, pay me money and I'm going to teach you how to get rich like me. So is there enough room for you as a rich guy to show everybody else how to do what you're doing? Isn't that going to crowd the market out, and then you're not going to have the ability to make money with what you're doing? So maybe what they're showing you how to do doesn't make any money, and the money is actually just coming from it seeming like he's making money. So it seems like the person's making money, and they're selling the idea and the look of them making money. They're not actually selling something that actually is making money. They're just selling the idea of it. And they're probably living paycheck to paycheck just like you are, You might see some guy you think is rich online who's actually renting all of his Lamborghinis and private jets and shit. And then you might see them working at fucking some random place like, yo, why are you a cashier at fucking Job Lot, or why are you the manager at Taco Bell? Something like that, right? So, you know what I'm saying? That's the second class of people. The people that aren't super rich, but, they're acting like they're rich, and they might even not even have as much money as the people that work real jobs. Now, this is the third class of people. The people that work their ass off for money. Now, this could be people that own their own businesses, people that are in the trades, or people that have a bunch of jobs that don't pay well, but they work them anyway, And these people, most of them are living paycheck to paycheck. Some of them actually can carve out a living. Most of them are eking out a living. They just are getting by. That's really what they're doing, is getting by. And they want financial stability, but they have to work so hard, or they have to work at the same job so long to learn how to actually make enough money to be stable doing what they're doing, that by the time that they're actually, working less than, 60 hours a week or something like that, they're lowering their hours per week. It's been 20 years, So those are the people that have the serious dedication. But if you're not completely dedicated and you're not good at keeping a job, you're a little unstable or really unstable, then you end up with multiple jobs, because you might work really hard for a while and then falter, and then you lose a job, and then you have to get another one. So you end up being unreliable in the job market, or you might not have the guts or the will or the ability, or you might not think you have the ability to have your own business. So you're working all of these jobs to make money. Needless to say, these are a group of people who work their ass off. Some of them have barely any money, living paycheck to paycheck. Other people have a good amount of money, but they're still kind of living paycheck to paycheck in a way. They because with more money, they buy more things and they have more expenses. So these are all the third class of people I'm talking about is a wide range with money. Some of them don't have that much. Some of them have a lot, but their main focus is working their ass off most of the time they're working. Some of them like it, most of them hate it, and they're just doing it because they want financial stability. But some of them do enjoy it. Now, the last case is the people that have essentially, they don't have the ability to work consistently, or they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They just don't care enough to work their ass off and live that kind of way, you know? They don't care enough about that stability of having that money to do it, or they just not good at holding a job. Like, and I'm kind of in this position, honestly. Like, it's hard for me to show up. When I say I'm going to do something, for some reason, it feels like I'm cursed. Like, it feels so difficult when I say I'm going to do something for me to actually do it. And I don't know why that is. It's extremely difficult for me. Like, I keep my mouth shut as much as I can. I want to always talk about the things I'm doing, but I feel like when I say, hey, I'm going to do this thing, check it out. When I'm done, I'll tell you. Like, it never happens, you know? Or sometimes it does, but, you know, it's happening more and more that I actually do end up doing the things that I say I do, but I am guilty of the fact that a lot of the time I just don't do what I say I'm going to do, you know? And it goes beyond that, though. This last class of people are also the people that are not mentally or physically able to hold a job. They're not able to actually, you know, bust their ass as hard as the current client, like an economic client requires. You know, these are people that either because they decide not to or they don't have the ability to, are not living consistently enough with when it comes to work. They're not consistent enough in their work to be living paycheck to paycheck or have a house or even have a car. These people are sometimes homeless. These people are sometimes, you know, living in other people's houses because they just aren't consistent enough to hold a job, you know? And right now, that's sort of me, you know? A lot of those people apply for disability, you know? That's one option for me because I'm not totally mentally well. For a couple weeks, I'm really depressed. And then for a couple weeks, I feel okay or feel actually pretty great, you know? So it's kind of like bipolar. You know, I get so paranoid sometimes about people. I think everybody's out to get me, literally. I just feel like everybody's out to get me. Everybody is out to fuck me. Everybody is out to manipulate me. And, you know, some people are sometimes, but in the U.S., almost everybody is trying to get something up off of you. So it's not coming from a place of complete delusion, but thinking that everybody's out to get you kind of sucks. And it's also hard to have a job when you have problems with authority figures, and every couple weeks your mood and your personality shifts, you know? And yeah, so I got a couple issues that makes it hard for me to work a regular job under a boss, you know? So that's why I'm beginning to look at other ways to make money, like other good ways to make money other than working a normal job, you know? But if that doesn't work out, I don't want to apply for disability, but I'm probably going to end up having to. The thing is, what I'm trying to say about the class of people that I'm saying that I belong to is, you know, people like me, almost all of us, you know, tried to be a part of the struggle, but decided, for some of us realized we don't have the ability to run it like that. We don't have the ability to live in that environment and do that consistently. So we just give up, or you never tried in the first place, you know? But the people that don't give a fuck, like, or that know that they can't do it, like me, I don't give a fuck and I know I can't do it. So therefore, why would I give a fuck about that? Why would I give a fuck about holding down a job? Because I know at some point I'm going to falter and I'm going to quit. And I'm not going to show up one day because I'm not mentally well. And I'm not going to have an excuse to not show up. So I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'm just not showing up because I don't have the will to work enough. I don't have the will to do it. You know, I need some peace right now, you know. It is what it is. But people like me are not bad people. It's just, you can call me lazy, you know, but I need a lot more time of rest, solitude, and calmness. And when I'm rushing all the time and doing all sorts of stuff, what's the point? What's the point of rushing to working all these crazy jobs and putting down money on a mortgage for land or a house? What's the point of doing all that stuff, you know? The point for me would be so that I can get a wife and have kids and take care of my kids. I would love to do that one day. But damn, man. Like, if I pick a trade, and I would have to go work in that trade for like 4 or 6 years or something, at least 2, before I could start my own business in that trade. There's other things that can be done. What I'm trying to say about the last group here, these are the people that in the 1960s, there was a phrase like drop out and plug in or something like that, where it was like drop out of school, stop working, be homeless, and just fucking live like day to day, and just put out your hand if you don't have food or money, and if you do have food or money, share it with the people around you. You know, that was the mentality in the United States back then. So that was like the whole hippie movement, to take psychedelics, open up your mind spiritually. But unfortunately, a lot of people took psychedelics and they didn't try and open up their mind spiritually. They just did it for the sake of getting fucked up, you know. And when you do that, you end up going crazy. Unfortunately, that's what ends up happening. You end up losing touch with reality, because rather than using it to enhance your mind, you're doing it to dull your mind. And whatever mission you put into that psychedelic trip, it's gonna make it happen. Yeah. So, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, a lot of kids nowadays, I'm sure they're going to take the route of doing the least bullshit work possible to eke out a living. They're going to say, hey, what's the point of me working what's the point of me working 1 or even 2 jobs? Like, people are coming out of, literally, people are coming out of college with degrees, but they're working minimum wage jobs because those degrees don't mean shit in the real world nowadays, because so many people have degrees. So they have all this debt and they're still working like a shitty job, and they're still living with their parents, or they're living even in their cars, or they're living with a friend in a tiny little apartment, you know? So it's like, what's the point of going to school for all that time? Unless you're having a great time at school, then you should go. But if you're paying for it, it's not fucking worth it, you know, most of the time. It doesn't even matter what degree you get nowadays. So it's like, most of the kids nowadays are smart enough. They look around and they're saying, yo, I grew up with this addictive technological device, which is the phone, which is super addictive. You have it on you all the time, and anytime you swipe, you're burning out your dopamine receptor like it's like doing cocaine at a lower level. It's like you're jacking off all day. What would be the mental implications of a human being if they're just masturbating for hours every day whenever they have free time? You're going to burn out your dopamine receptors. You're going to flood your pleasure receptors. And that's what happens with the phone. When I was 9 years old, I got an iPod. And that's when I started to really burn out my dopamine receptors, because all the time, even when I was 7, 8 years old, I had a Game Boy, and I would go in my room, I'd just sit there and just play it all day. Because I didn't have any friends, you know? I didn't know anybody on my block, you know? I just didn't. And when I was even younger, I was locked up in my room. So I was just used to being stuck in my room. And then, bam, you get some technology. Hey, this is so much fun. This is all I want to do now. And that's all I want to do. So I got used to living by repetitively just doing like masturbatory things. Just sitting in one place and pleasuring myself. And that's what you do on the phone. You sit there and you pleasure yourself. You're swiping. Just like jacking off. It's the same sort of thing. So it's like, what I want is for everybody in my position that decides, hey, you know, like, what's the point of working a 9 to 5? Let me try and find out how to live without working a 9 to 5 and maybe work for myself, you know, grow my own food, do busking, you know, not beg for food for nothing, but do handyman work and ask for food or money for doing that, you know. Find honorable way. There's honorable ways to not have a formal job but still make money, you know. If you can find ways to honorably live and eat and live your life, you know, not by stealing or cheating or anything like that, but you don't have to work. Look how big that thing is. Look at that thing. It's like a mosquito. Holy shit, man. That thing is fucking huge. Anyway, if you can find a way to do that, you don't have to beg, but you can offer your services and work, or you can find stuff to sell, or you can resell stuff. Like my grandma, she was an antique seller. So she would buy things and then put them together in sets and then resell them. That is working for yourself, you know? So buying and selling stuff is a way that people like me can make money. And there's no shame in it. That's the thing. It's like, there's a difference between shame and guilt. Shame is when you feel bad because you know that other people are going to judge you for some actions you're doing. You feel like you've done something wrong against the group. Guilt is when you do something that you know you've done against your own moral code. So the fact that I don't have a 9 to 5 right now, and I don't even want to look for a job that has a 9 to 5, is because I'm barely going to make any money if I do it anyway. And I'm going to spend so much time working that job just to pay for the gas to work the job, just to pay for the food to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so that I can work the job. How much money, and the gas, like when it comes down to the gas I spend going there and going back to where I sleep, the food I spend, and the time I spend it's not worth working a normal job for somebody else. It's not worth it. Think about it. Because you're spending money on gas, spending money on the 3 meals you eat that day. And you lost that entire day to working. Even if, you work just 6 hours or something, you end up being tired, and then you got to drive back to wherever it is you want to go. And you don't really choose when those hours are unless you got like a special remote job or whatever. So it's like, it's not worth it, So all I need is some money for gas in my car and some money or somebody to give me some food. And I'm fucking happy. If I want to, I go for a hike. I work on projects, like I got scrap. I get some wood together and do different things and learn how to, make a living out of the things. Like, I find the trash and find the treasure in the trash. I think of myself as the man who is embodying the phrase, one man's trash is another man's treasure, That's how I feel right now, So, guys, don't be scared to try and make your own business. Don't undervalue your work as well, If you're gonna go do some work, fucking look at how much other people are getting for their work. Stand confident and say, yeah, I want to do this handyman work for you, and I'm not just gonna try and be fake humble and say, oh, you can just give me $5 an hour. No, I'm gonna say, yeah, give me for doing this. Okay, because I'm using a machine and this and that, and I have to use gas. Give me 12. I need 12 euros an hour minimum. Like, be like that. Like, just stand up for yourself. And you know what? You're gonna be surprised at how the world morphs around you, and you're able to make a fucking living doing the things you love to do. For real, You can make a living doing the things you want to do. Probably. If you do it right. With art, it's pretty difficult. But if you like working with your hands, then if you like working with your hands, you can almost definitely make money just working for yourself. All you have to do is learn how to do some stuff you might not want to, like a little bit of advertising, and branding yourself. But if you learn how to do some simple things like that, you can turn a passion into something awesome that you can make money with, So, fuck working 9 to 5 for somebody else. Those times are long gone, Back in the day in the US, you could start your own business and make a bunch of money, working for somebody else, and you could buy a house for a very small fraction of what a house costs nowadays, and that was all fine and dandy. Nowadays, it's not happening, okay? Find your passion and find a way on how to make money from it and work at it pretty much every day. If you're not working a job, go just do something, And when you say you're going to do something, or you think about doing something, don't talk about it. Don't tell anybody. This is the most important part. And this is the most important part. I am serious. If you are trying to do something, if you're starting something new, if you have a passion you're trying to turn into a business, don't tell anybody. Just work at it. Just focus on it. Research it yourself. Do it. You can just do a little bit at a time at first. But it's way better if you throw yourself into it and really try. Do it. Don't talk about it. Don't tell anybody else. Do it. That's all you should be doing, is doing the physical thing, not talking about it. Do not talk about what your plans are for the future. Just, you can write them down for yourself. Don't talk about it to other people. it's better to not even write it down. Just write down the research that you need. At the end of the day, 9-to-5 jobs are not working for people nowadays. You don't make enough money. It's becoming like serfdom. The Egyptian slaves only had to give away 20% of their crops to the people that they were enslaved to. That was what slavery was back in the day. Now we're giving up like way more than that in taxes. So it's like slavery. It's like being a slave nowadays. The amount of money that you have to give up to the government. So you have free will. So take that free will, and if you don't have a passion right now, go find one. Go fucking find one that isn't video games, that isn't scrolling on your phone, that isn't fucking masturbating. You know, go do something generative. Go do something generative. Just try it for 10 minutes. Even if every day you wake up and you go sit on the computer. I used to do this. I used to wake up fucking at like 5 p.m. or 5 p.m. or at noon, and, you know, get on the computer and fucking play video games for 10, 12 hours, 16 hours, and then just fucking go to bed. Spend just a little bit of that time doing something generative. Just a little bit. And try out different things until you find some stuff you like. Eventually, if you fucking work at it, you're gonna make a groove, you're gonna make a divot in your brain where you're gonna love to do that thing. Okay? It's like taking on a new diet. You don't just switch your entire meal plan to something new. You should slowly add in the new foods you're trying to change into. And then eventually, before you know it, you're only eating the stuff on the good diet. And you feel great. And that's the same thing with work. If you slowly start to put in the fun things that you never knew were so fun before trying new things, you find something you like, and then you start to learn how to make money with it. And then before you know it, you're making money and you're working for yourself. That's what you need to be doing.